Greetings, friends. It's a chilly morning here at Big Pond Farm. It's actually pretty cold last night, so we had to start up the wood stove once again. And the temperatures were right at freezing, so we had to cover some plants that we have on the other side in the garden. And there was actually frost on the ground this morning. But it's kind of funny because just the other day, the highs were in the 80s and the lows were in the 60s. But that's life on the farm, doing what you have to do to adjust to the weather. We have a special guest here on the farm today. Let's go meet him. Okay, I promised and told you we had a visitor, and here's our visitor, Ron Bell.
Hey gang, as Mike said, I'm Ron Bell. I'm with Friendly Farm Machinery and Tool, and we specialize in the Grillo tractors. Grillo makes the tractor, they make a tiller, and they make an awesome tiller that goes on the tractor. After that, they don't make anything, you buy implements. So on this G.A.F.T unit, we have the world famous Berta rotary plow. After we get finished making the raised beds with this G.A.F.T unit, we're going to come to the little bit bigger unit, the G107D, and we've got a new, brand new, Rinaldi R2 Rinaldi power harrow. And you're going to get to see how we're going to take this power harrow, level out those beds, and make a perfect seed bed for Mike to plant into. So that's our game plan for this morning, and probably for a little bit of the day, but we're going to get started.
Here we go.
We're going to try and experiment because we're having a little bit of time getting rid of the roots and everything. So we're going to try to use the power harrow to till down about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, see if we can't clip the roots out and make it a little easier for the rotary plow to dig deeper on the first go. So to adjust the depth, it's pretty simple. That's a little depth stop. And now all we got to do is crank it. I got it framed out. And you can see the bed lowering, the cutter head lowering. And we're going to stop right in there. We're going to lock it in place. We're going to give it a whirl. See what, and when I say give it a whirl, that's exactly what I mean, because they whirl.
I want to mention real quick that ideally you should tarp whatever area you're getting ready to prep for your beds beforehand. But I take the blame, and I'm sorry for that, Ron, that we didn't do that. But ideally, that's what you would want to do.
Let's see what happens.
And after Ron used the power harrow to break new ground and break up all of our devil, or should I say, Bermuda grass, he gave me the chance to use it.
This is the clutch. Okay. PTO shaft's up here. Okay. You mash the clutch in, you push it forward. When you release now, the power head's going to be going. Okay. I'm going to put it in first gear. Ready to roll. Stay out of the bed, we can turn the handlebar.
Ron is making some fantastic progress right here in the lower market garden bed that we're working on here. And let me tell you, the tools that he's using, this Grillo tool, is definitely saving us a ton of time versus using the normal rototiller and broad fork that we have. And these beds that he's prepping, they look great. And they should be ready to put plants in fairly soon. But since they're newly turned over beds and tilled, they definitely will still have seeds that were from unwanted plants. So when we're going to put plants in here, we're going to use either landscape fabric or put in plants that will basically high rotation crops such as radishes that we will be able to harvest, that grow fairly quickly within 20-25 days. And that way we'll pull them up and some of those unwanted seeds will basically sprout, and then we'll turn that bed over again and it will continue to work on getting rid of those unwanted seeds. But let's go check out and see more of what Ron's doing.
We took the rotary plow and we threw all that dirt up here. And man, if we were doing that by hand, that'd be a heck.
It sure would. It would have been days, if not weeks of work if I had to do this by hand, because I have done some of this by hand before, and it is not easy. Once you get to about 5 to 10 feet in, you're practically exhausted and wore out.
And there's only 85 more feet to go.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
That's exactly. So this is the R2 Rinaldi. 75 stands for 75 centimeters, and that's the width, which is basically 30 inches. And the thing that separates this stuff from the kind of junk you're going to buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or Sears or whoever is it's all gear driven. And this is the synchronizer shaft that goes through the trailer, but it's also the same size shaft that goes and drives the gears that are internal to the quick release here. So you've got 20 millimeters of steel, and it's hardened steel. And you can see how many splines. There's a lot. The more splines, the more area. The more area, the more lack chance that you're going to break it. And it runs the tractor supplies the power. The unit directs that power to the 5 cutter heads. 5 cutter heads are sitting in a really heavy grease bath. I thought it would be an oil bath, but when you open up the inspection seal right here, you can see that it's in a heavy grease. Anyway, if you look underneath, and if I'm turning one, are they all turning? They should all.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's because it's a pinion gear that's driving all of them, and it drives from all 5 heads at one time. And that's what makes the power harrow unique. You're not really going after a lot of depth. You're just retailing the surface. And by retailing the surface, and this is what's the latest and greatest, is you're protecting the soil profile. You're not disturbing those microbes that are sitting there 3, 4, 5, 6 inches underneath the soil. You're letting them live. And when those microbes get pulled up by the roots of your plants, if you got the right ones, they do 80 to 90% of the work of making the chloroform for your plant. So your plant is like on Miracle-Gro instead of throwing out the fertilizer and hoping for the best. It's a game changer, and I think everybody should take a look at the farm as an ecosystem on YouTube there and see. I think the guy's name was Ted Brown, and man, that was a game changer for me because it changed my whole way of thinking, and to the fact that owning a tiller is not that important to me now. the broad fork, the rotary plow, and this instrument here, or implement here, are the tricks. But if you don't have this, you always have your rake, and you can roll with that. But the rotary plow builds your raised bed. Your broad fork's going to go in there and aerate that bed and loosen up the soil, and then you're just going to ease on the surface to put whatever amendments you throw in on the top. That's what your plants are going to grow for first. Once they get that root shot down a little ways, they're going to grab those good microbes that you've been protecting, and walla walla, Katie bar the door, you should be growing some good plants. And that's what I'm about. I think that's what Mike's about, and this implement makes it possible to do that easier. It doesn't make it so that you can't, it's not that you can't do it without the implement, you can just do it easier with the implement.
That sounds good. You're exactly right. So Ron, tell us a little bit about this tractor here with this power harrow on it. How much does this run?
The tractor alone, if I remember correctly, and I'm going off the top of my head, but
okay,
it's $28.50. The implement's about $23. The way I work here, Mike, is that if you look at Earth Tools and you go online and you see what the price is at Earth Tools, I sell you for the exact same price. The thing is, you don't have to pay for shipping. Shipping on this unit, like you see right here, that's going to be close to $300. So if you get from me, you get a local guy that can fix it, and your shipping's free. That's my big, otherwise it's the same machine. So if you ever have a question about any price for anything that will attach to a Grillo tractor, go to Earth Tools, and they are the Grillo distributor for North America. Joel Defer, he's a great guy. They're in Owenston, Kentucky. Anyway, like I said, I think it's about $28.50 for the tractor. This is the tractor with the Yamaha. You can get it with a Yamaha or the Honda. The thing that makes this tractor unique as opposed to the one that we had the rotary plow on, this one has 3 working speeds. And that means that your top walking speed is about 3.5 miles an hour with these big tires on it. These are the biggest tires you can get for any of the walking tractors. These tires are foam filled, which adds another 40 pounds per tire, which is a good thing. The even better thing is that they can never go flat.
I experience flats all the time, so that sounds great to me.
$110 to fill the foam. Okay?
That sounds great.
But you never, how long is this tire going to last you?
Yeah.
30 years later, when you're still on the same tire and you've never had a flat,
yeah,
you'll say, that was the best $110 I ever spent.
Yeah.
And I have proof of that because on the little G.A.F.T unit, Mr. Bell, being who he is, had a bush hog on it and ran it into a rock that cut the side of the tire.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, I did the patch deal, and it's been running with a patch for 2 years now. It still works great, but it sure looks ugly. 3 working speeds as opposed to just 2. That means mowing your yard with this unit is not, it's a doable thing. The other thing is the mower that fits this unit's a 33-inch Xanon. So you're mowing 33 inches wide at a time. And you're at a brisk walk if you have it in 3rd gear. It's a good workout. If you're wanting to lose weight, when you're not gardening with it, mow with it.
There you go. So you get your farm fit on at the same time as getting the work done.
Exactly. Exactly.
In the last vlog, I talked about investing in yourself. And part of investing in yourself is getting the right education and learning what tools to actually buy, what tools that you need to use on the farm. And as we try to provide you with, in some of our videos, we try to provide you with information that can help you make the right decision. And Ron here has shown us, given us some demonstration with the Grillo equipment on some of the right tools that you can add to your farm. And let me tell you, as a market garden and as a market gardener, I can say that these are tools that I think are must-haves, because we're constantly turning beds over on a regular basis, and having the right tools can do that. It makes a huge difference. And Ron, we are very appreciative of you coming to help us out.
Thank you, Mike.
And it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much for using your equipment here and showing us how to use it. I definitely plan to purchase some of these in the future. So for those of you who also may be interested in purchasing any of the Grillo equipment, we'll provide Ron's information in the show notes below. And what would you say, Ron, for market gardeners like me, what would you suggest as far as which ones they should start off with? Because today we use the power harrow and the rotary plow. So what would you suggest?
That's a good point, Mike. And that's the one reason why I put the rotary plow on the smaller unit, the G85 unit, because there are a lot of people that would think that, oh, I got to go one step higher. And the answer is not really. You could put the power harrow on the G85 unit. The main thing you got to do was upgrade on the wheels. And honestly, I think if I was using the power harrow and the rotary plow, I would go with the very largest wheels. And these are the medium size. They're 20 inches. They are the minimum size for the rotary plow. You have to have 20-inch wheels. The standard model comes with 18-inch wheels. So that's an easy upgrade. Doesn't cost much if you do it up front. It costs a lot if you do it afterwards. So it's not one of those things you want to do afterwards. You know, you want to do it up front. The other thing is, what do you want to use the tractor for? The 3 working speeds on the G107 and any of the higher models just give you a faster working speed for mowing, especially mowing. And maybe if you were using the little hay rake, you could go at a faster clip there and gain you some time back, because, you know, speed is time when you're out in the field. And that's what you're not going to get with the little G85. But other than that, if you're running stationary implements and soil working implements, the G85 does a pretty good little job. It doesn't have quite the horsepower, but it's got the same clutch, exact same clutch in this unit and in this unit. The 110 has a heavier clutch, so if you're really going to be bogging it down, that might be something you want to look at. But the ability to run the flail mower, which I would really want that on at least the G107. If you're thinking about a flail mower, and flail mower is instant mulch if you're doing a cover crop, that's something to put in the back of your mind, because there's only $500 difference between that unit and this unit as far as the tractors are concerned. $500 is $500. In the future, if you're growing cover crops and you want to turn them in, you want to chop them up with that flail mower first. So that's $500 well spent. If you're never going to do that, that's $500 you wasted. So it's like me. I don't want to waste money, but I want to be able to let my implement do everything I want to grow into in the future. That's the thing to think about. If you're not going to do that, if you're going to be gardening only, that's a great, it runs a tiller great, it runs the rotary plow great, it would run this power harrow great. So it's just a matter of getting the wheels and the extensions on the little G85. The G107D is the smallest unit that has the 3 working speeds. That's going to get you the faster travel speed you want if you're mowing your yard with it, and if you're using the tedder rake. Running the sickle bar mower, running the bush hog, little G85 will do that just fine too.
One of the things that I suggest, or any of you out there who are trying to make the decision on what route you should go with equipment, I would say if you're going to need to use these tools more than once or twice a year, that is something you probably should put on your list to purchase at some point. But if you're doing less, if you're doing once or twice a year, maybe rent it. But like I said, if you're doing more than that, it would be best to make sure you add them on your farm when you can. because everybody's at different levels and have different contexts that they're working in. But Ron, we'd like to thank you for coming out again.
Thank you, Mike.
And how does these prices compare with the BCS? Are they cheaper from what I've seen?
They're cheaper for a reason. The biggest reason is you got the dry plate clutch instead of a hydraulic clutch. That might not, BCS is going to tell you that's not a good thing. Joel, once again, I refer to Joel there at Earth Tools because he's been doing this all his life. If you like to be able to fix your own machine, this is the machine. That's why I purchased this machine. It's stupid simple. You know, you slip pins, hey, they're dumb, but they work. It's not as sophisticated as the BCS, but it's cheaper than the BCS, and you, and I mean anybody that's got half a brain, can tear it all the way down and put it back together and it will work. You're not going to break the machine. It's hardened steel gears inside of this housing. If you keep gear oil in it, the machine doesn't weigh enough to break the gears, you know.
Simple sounds good to me because I am not the most mechanically inclined person, so simple sounds great.
Thanks, Mike. And that's honestly, BCS makes a great machine. You know, that's not an issue. But these are just 30 years from now, when you're using the same tractor, you're a happy camper.
Ron, thanks again.
Thank you.
We're going to plan to go visit Ron at some point in the future, so stay tuned for that. Tell him bye, Micah. Say bye. Wave to him. Bye. Say bye.
Say bye.
Can you wave? Wave.